Yes, people, welcome back to Albert JTV for a Monday morning bank holiday match review. Newcastle United nil, the mighty Arsenal 2. But before we get into it, people, let's smash the intro. Footballing community, you should know what to do by now. Like, share, and subscribe. Welcome back to Albert JTV. A social media platform. Know what you're talking about. And what I mean by that is goals, ESR and Saka have done well. They've done okay. They've done well. Yes, people, welcome back to Albert JTV for a bank holiday Monday match review, morning match review. The earlier the better, people. So, people, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Going live on Facebook, YouTube, and of course on the live Twitter feed as well. So share and retweet if possible, people. Yeah, man. Listen, Newcastle United 2, Newcastle United nil. Sorry, Arsenal 2. Let me get the right way around. Big result yesterday, man. For a number of reasons, but we're gonna delve into it. People, when you do come in the chat, just drop a quick hello or maybe drop a quick question in during the stream, and I will try and answer as best as I can. Audio listeners, you will not be forgotten. So this will go on my Spotify and Anchor, so you can hear my ever-present dulcet tones. You like the way I broke it down into sort of two syllables there, so it doesn't sound like Dorset, people. So yeah, listen, big win yesterday, man, for a number of different reasons, as I mentioned. Got to be honest, going into the game, I said that my head tells me we'll get a draw. My heart was telling me Newcastle will nick it 2-1. Sometimes in life, it is about timing. It is. And I just felt us playing Newcastle away with the way the recent run of results have gone. Yes, we picked up the win against Chelsea, but you know what I mean. The three results before that, the humbling by City, the drop points against West Ham, and also Southampton. So you're playing a Newcastle team that are banging form, man. A team that went through the season getting a lot of draws. They've got the most draws in the Premier League, Newcastle. I think they're in double figures in terms of draws. But since the Carabao Cup final, they lost to Manchester United. They have been on a rich vein of form. They've been on fire, to be honest with you. Scoring goals left, right, and centre. Isak has been influential. Callum Wilson is a stalwart now. You know, in terms of being in the Premier League. I think they lost 1 in 9. They scored 20 in their last 6 before we played them yesterday. So to say that I wasn't positive about Arsenal getting the result would be an understatement. I'm not going to sit here and lie. But we had to go there and win, and that was the objective. Before I carry on even further, people, let me quickly go into the chat. Yes, Jenny, man. Favorite woman ever that I still haven't met yet. Jenny, lots of love, man. A massive supporter of the channel, Albert JTV, and an amazing woman. Pass my regards to Russ and your amazing daughter Lucy as well. Morning all. There's a lot of chat. Oh, get busy in the chat. Morning all. Thank you, my friend. Do you think the title race is over? I will touch on that, my friend. I will touch on that. I will definitely will. West Ham was the matches that killed us. They have. And a special shout out to somebody. He's just arrived in my chat box. The legend that is Super Kevin Campbell. Kevin, the salute to you, my friend. Legend, man. When Kevin Campbell tuned into Albert JTV, man. Got to give the man some props, man. Good win. I hope you in the gun as well. Massive win, and we have to fight right to the end. Our youngsters grew up yesterday against a physically imposing team at home. Come on, you Gunners. Although we need snookers, we have to keep winning to put pressure on. Kevin, I love the snooker analogy, man. It's fantastic. Super Kevin Campbell audio listeners is in my chat. It's unbelievable. This is a dream on the Bank Holiday Monday morning. But Kev, you're right, man. You're right. It was a huge win yesterday physically. Newcastle are a team of athletes, man. Like Joe Linton, Wilson, Isak. I know Longstaff didn't play yesterday. The boys at the back, Cher, Botman, Dan Burn. It's a tough ground to go to anyway, at any stage of the season. But particularly, I think for Arsenal, is the PTSD or stroke mental scars from what happened the season before, in a big penultimate game, and we didn't turn up, and we got bullied, and we got harassed, and we got piped. Simple as that. But um, I think you know what it is. I think I was thinking about this yesterday. People in the chat, let me know what your thoughts are. There's still pressure on because we're still in the title race, even though it's not in our hands. But I feel that the pressure is different if you're the ones that are the front runners, as opposed to being the ones that are the chasers. So, with that being said, I do think maybe for some of the Arsenal fans, and also, you know, for people how they look at Arsenal now with the games to go, that maybe the pressure's off a tiny little bit. There's pressure, but not the pressure there was when we were leading the race for such a long time. Hopefully that makes sense. But it was typical of Arsenal to go there and get a victory. And not only that, right, we kept a clean sheet, which is crazy. I think our last clean sheet, if I've got this right, people, was Fulham away. That seems like a long time ago. That was what was that? Mid March, beginning of March. That's right, Casey. You're right. We're the chaser now, man. It's a different mindset. It is. Kevin, you'll know better than I. You'll know better than I will, man. You won titles for our great club, man. So you will know. But Arsenal are in a different position now as they were for a chunk of the season, and that shouldn't be ignored. By the way, that shouldn't be ignored. So we can only take care of our business. And I always said this, right? Whether people believe me or not, I'm not trying to give people false hope because this is my genuine belief. When we played Man City when we played them on at the Emirates on the 15th of February, we lost the game. Everyone's doom and gloom, and big ascendancy's been shifted. But I said, you know what? As good as City are, and they are a juggernaut of a side, by the way, people, I do see them dropping points. I do. They might not necessarily lose, but I do see them dropping points. I mean, with the greatest respect, I don't see Chelsea turn up there and beating them at home. I thought City would win their home games. I still think they will. I think the away game against Everton is huge because Everton are in the bottom three. They need to start picking up wins. They need to start winning games of football. Otherwise, they're going to be playing championship football next season. That's not a gimme. And their away games against Brentford and Brighton are not gimmies either. We still got to play Brighton next Sunday. So we've got to take care of our business. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, man. I generally don't think it is. But the boys yesterday, man. So team lineup. I actually haven't had a problem with the team lineups in the last couple of games because I just felt I get it through a chunk of the season that we've done well with our 11, 12, 13 players, and we've been winning games of football. But I just think at last week against Chelsea and the game yesterday, we just needed to tweak it a bit, man. People talk about the squad depth for this side, which has been spoken about a lot. And I don't know what you guys' thoughts are. I mean, when we had the January transfer window, we bought in Kivior, we bought in Jorginho, we bought in Trossard. You're not bringing in these players for them to be starting for next season, particularly when Arsenal were in the position they was in after the World Cup and still in the league title race. You've got to bed these guys in. I mean, people say hindsight's a beautiful thing, and it is. But I think Trossard's played a lot more minutes, to be fair to him. Probably could argue a case he could have probably started a lot more games. But like I said, Kivior and Jorginho, I personally thought they would have played a lot more, if I'm being honest. Because we brought these guys in for a reason, not to start them next season, but for them to help us this season, particularly if we're going for a title charge. But let me come to chat quickly. Yeah, we'll touch on Zinni during the chat. Kevin, we're good to get your thoughts about Zinni, man. I've got my thoughts. I hope it goes down to the last game of the season. Wolves at home and they play Brentford away. Kevin, right now, if you offered me that, I would bite your hand off. Take it to the last game of the season. Don't let these guys go and win the league by 4 or 5 points. No shame losing the league to Man City, but take it to the last game of the season. I hear a lot about how Man City are experienced, and they are, and the title winners, and 4 leagues out of 5. But I don't care how good you are, you will feel pressure. Pressure doesn't apply to certain times of the season. Trust me, the pressure, even to the best teams, it does apply. And if they come through their Champions League game against Real Madrid, they've got a final to think of. They've got the FA Cup final to think of. So listen, um, it's not over, is it, people? And you do get belief when Arsenal get the results they got yesterday. But yeah, let me sort of go back to what I was saying in terms of the tweaks and the team changes. I was happy with it, man. Like I just think there needs to be a slight shift in gear change in terms of some of the personnel. And if somebody said to you 2 months ago, we're going to go to Newcastle away with a handful of games to go, and you can start someone's party on the bench, Arsenal fans would have lost their mind. But listen, I always say you can look at stats, you can look at miles covered on the pitch, you can look at transitional play, but you can't. Your own set of eyes don't lie to you. And Thomas Partey has been off it. He hasn't given us that dependency and that reassurance that he normally gives us in the middle of the park. And as I said before, Newcastle are not, they're physically imposing and an athletic side. They can get the ball down and play. Don't get it twisted, but physicality wise, we was never going to win that match. But you know what? What we did show, is that at times we're not going to play amazing football week in, week out, but we got to go there and fight, man. And I literally mean probably physically go there and fight, because Newcastle stuck it on us. You saw some of the off the ball tackles that went unpunished. You probably could have had a couple of red cards in there, but Arsenal stood up, man. They did stand up 100%. And but you know what? The beginning of the game, I've got to be honest. It went exactly how I thought it would go, but I thought Newcastle would come at the traps, man. And they did, man. The first minute they hit the post with Murphy. We had the VAR decision, which I thought, oh my God, what's that been given for? Then they showed the replay. They said it's handball against Kivior, but then you can clearly see it is. It wasn't a penalty. It was quite funny. I don't know if you guys have seen it on the Premier League channel. Ian Wright yesterday. Oh, I swear to God, I was in tears watching him in watching the game with Alan Shearer. And Shearer just could not sort of, can you definitely say that's not a penalty? Can you definitely say that come off his? I was like Shearer, I get it. You're angry about Newcastle, not winning, but come on, man. That's a penalty. I just don't understand why it took so long for them to decide it. It was crazy to me. But yeah, you're thinking, oh my God, Newcastle absolutely peppering us. What we don't want is to, I said this before when I spoke to judges after the game the other night against Chelsea, that first 15, 20 minutes, we have got to keep that tight, man, and keep the score at 0-0. Because if we go a goal down early in that raucous atmosphere with the way Newcastle been playing in the form they're in, we're going to be in for a long afternoon. And, the decision got overturned. There was a save by Ramsdale from Willock. So you're thinking, wow, and we've seriously got to ride the storm here, man. We have to ride the storm 100%. But typical Arsenal against the run of play, Gooners, we go 1-0 up. And yeah, listen, I'm very, very happy to not play well, to keep the game to 0-0, and to sucker punch the opposition. And we did that. And actually, I actually felt when we got the goal, we controlled the ball a lot better. Erdegaard was very influential. Jorginho was very influential, brilliant. A brilliant ability to look forward and pass the ball and to spot runners, and as he demonstrated throughout the course of the first half. But we gained a little bit more composure. I heard Eddie Howe mention, and I actually thought it was quite telling in the press conference after the game when he was saying that Newcastle got too emotional. And he's right, because I think when we played them at the Emirates, I thought we got over to. Don't get me wrong, the referee was awful in that game at the Emirates. But I thought Arsenal lost it emotionally, man. The manager was on the touchline, was losing it. Arteta, he was getting his ding dongs with Eddie Howe. But I actually thought the roles were reversed yesterday. I thought they tried to rough us up, but it got to a point where Arsenal managed the game well in certain periods in terms of getting the cheap fouls, getting the free kicks, which, by the way, is very difficult to get away from home. When you're at home, more inclined to get the decisions, but away from home, in that atmosphere at St James's Park. Not necessarily all the time. So yeah, to get the goal was fantastic, to be honest with you, particularly after the start we had, and we gained a lot more better control and possession, and we had some big chances, man. You had the chance with Martinelli. You had the chance with Saka. And I don't know about you guys here, but I felt watching it at the time, Kevin, you're a striker, man. I didn't feel confident Saka would score. I actually didn't feel confident Martinelli would score. I just don't know. I thought a little bit with Martinelli, I thought he was a little bit off balance. I thought the chance was Saka. If he was more confident on his right, not that he can't, you got to cut across. You got to cut across the defender. Then he cannot make the tackle, because if he does, he brings you down and he gives away a free kick and probably gets red carded. Yes, he's on Saka's favourite side, so obviously there's more chance of him probably scoring. But just a couple of touches he made in that run, he didn't. He pulled the trigger, but obviously Nick Pope stood up and made the save. But at that point, I've got to be honest, yeah, as an Arsenal fan, I was thinking, if Arsenal don't put away the chances that they had, they've only got themselves to blame again. Let me take a little short break and I'll come to the comment section quickly. Yes, Russ. Yes, thank you, mate. Thank you, Russ. Super Russ, man. Party would have been carded yesterday. Yeah, the way he's been playing recently, Jenny, I actually think Arteta deserves I think he deserves plaudits for putting Jorginho in. Go on, Kev. What you saying, mate? Gina's in midfielder playing left back and we're winning and dominating. Nothing is questioned yet. When we have to defend for long periods, then he can be found out 100%. Tierney, we all know, is the better defender yet in possession. That makes such a big difference with Zinny. Yeah, you know with Zinny, Kevin. Yeah, you know what it is. I said this yesterday when I was on the same old Arsenal. I get the Arsenal fans' grumbles in terms of the defending. And that does need to be better at times, because a couple of times he got exposure yesterday. But for me, what it is with him and the recent games is, yes, he's very good at playing that inverted role coming into midfield, but some of his passing was just, it was consistently sloppy in the last 3 or 4 games. I'm like, come on, you've got to do better than that. You know, you're meant to be giving us that extra outlet in terms of the extra body in the central areas of the park. And it makes such a difference in terms of when we have the ball and putting teams on the back foot and pushing their defense and their midfielder back a further 10 yards. But when you're giving the ball away cheaply, you're putting more pressure back on our midfield and our defenders. And he's done that, unfortunately, quite a few times. And that's not, I can talk about his defensive side of it, obviously, but in terms of when he has the ball in the position where he's actually quite strong, he needlessly gives the ball away badly. And I don't mean in terms of, I don't have a problem him giving the ball away when you're trying to make a slide rule pass, getting into their final third. But when you're just sort of giving it away the way he does, he's giving it away very cheaply. It's costly, man. And sometimes, you know what? As a midfield players in an opposing team, you don't get the ball back that quickly very often. So just hence the reason why you got to take better care of it when we do have it. Let me come to the chat quickly. You guys are live in the chat. Thanks, I appreciate it, man. On a bank holiday Monday. No one can control our ear. Ian Wright was that I've seen some brilliant clips of him this season. The one when we beat Fulham away 3-0. But the one yesterday, I was in tears, man. I just loved Wrighty. Kevin, man, I hope you messaged him after, man. That was priceless in these celebrations. It's brilliant. I think Saka needs to be rested. He looks burnt out. Gives Reece Nelson some game time. Good point. I'm going to touch on that during the course of the stream. Yes, Trevs, man. Guns Yellow Ribbons. Go on, bro. Morning, mate. We're in the car on the way back. Hungover, but happy. What a day. Yeah, you know, big up to the Gooners, by the way, that went to that game. I know you have quite a high peripheral vision when you go to St. James's Park, man, as I saw from the cameras. But we heard you, man. We heard you singing. We heard you loud and proud. And you guys were absolutely amazing. And I'm glad, you know what, you went there and the boys gave you something to cheer about. Absolutely. Of course, my big up Guns Yellow Ribbons people. Go and subscribe to them, man. Go to chat with the man's game. Green Nelson to start. Go on, Kevin. The problem is, if he's not there, the opposition are a lot happier when we have possession. They look to hunt us down with the press. 100% KC, man. Listen, Zinni's been, by and large, this season, he's been brilliant. Just the last few weeks, even a 5-10% drop off, just it makes such a difference, man. Such a difference. But yeah, listen, like I said, the first half we controlled it a bit better. And then we have a golden shot. Oh my god. Yeah, it kind of came from nothing really. That I don't know how that chance even orchestrated itself. With Saka got, I think Saka got the ball. I think it was Martinelli. Was Martinelli slipping Erdegaard? It was a great chance, brilliant, brilliant chance. Me being the striker myself back in the heyday, Casey. When he went through, I thought, yeah, slot that to the goalkeeper's left, 100%. Trust me, go the way you're going. He didn't get the best contact with it, Erdegaard. Even though it was on his right foot, didn't get the best contact. But I thought, you know what? Get that goal to go 2-0 up at half time. What a great team talk you got. You know what I mean? Newcastle come out the traps, start on fire, hit the post. VAR decision goes in our favour, rightly so. Save from Ramsdale in the first half. 3 great chances as well as scoring the goal. And you think, you know what? I don't want to go into the second half and have a repeat of the first 15 minutes of the first half because it's going to be a tough afternoon at St. James's Park, man. And it continued to be. Isak hits the post within the first few minutes. And then I said this yesterday to a couple of Gooners that I don't know how you guys have felt throughout the course of the season, maybe in recent games, Gooners, but I don't always expect football as a fan to be enjoyable to watch. And what I mean by that is I look at the second half against Liverpool. I look at the sort of the first 10, 15 minutes of the Newcastle game, first half. I look at the period for about 15, 20 minutes in the second half. That was a hard watch, man. That was a very, very hard watch. We had to dig in. We had to have moments where we knew we wasn't going to have the ball because of the pressure of the home crowd. And let's have it right, Newcastle were a very good side. They're a very good side. They're in the position in the league for a reason that they are. Defensively, they've got the best record in the Premier League this season, and offensively, they've been hurting teams left, right, and centre. It was tough watch. We dug in, and people, I'm sure you will agree with me in the chat. And I definitely said this at the time, and I felt it at the time. Turning point of the match. The Granit Xhaka tackle on Joe Willock. You go from being 1-0 up and staying in the game, then it going to 1-1, and the place has absolutely come off its lid. It's raucous. We're going to be quiet as away fans. The home fans will be pumped up. Isak and Wilson still on the pitch. And it would have been a very different game. But what a fantastic tackle by Granit Xhaka. My God. What a block. What a fantastic block. And for me, that changed the game. It 100% changed the game. And you know what? Saka and Martinelli have had it tough in recent weeks, actually. It's not just about yesterday's game. Someone's mentioned in the chat, and I agree. I just, whether it's tiredness or he's just off it, or there's a fine line between confidence, and Saka's just, they found it a bit tough going to influence games the way they have done in recent weeks and months. Whether that's defenders being quite wise to them, getting used to them, teams doubling up on them, which does happen, trying to kick them early, kick them off the pitch, a number of different factors, but he has looked off it, Saka, I must admit. And Martinelli goes on it. I think the goal, the second goal, actually came from, I think Tierney broke up play, if I've got that right. We get the ball somehow to Martinelli, goes on a run, does a great bit of work, great bit of skill. And some people say it's kind of Karma on Shah for that poor challenge on Gabriel Jesus. That was more than deliberate, and actually that should have been looked at, if I'm being honest. But great work by Martinelli, great ball across. It might even have got to Martin Odegaard at the back stick if it wasn't for Fabian Schär. And 2-0. And you know what? Sometimes in life, sometimes with football, you've got to ride your luck. You've got to take your opportunities, and we did. And that was pivotal to get that goal with 20 minutes to go, because then we've got a buffer and we've got a cushion. Yes, Newcastle have come out and they've made it more difficult and they've put pressure on us, but then we've got to take them even more out of their comfort zone. So to get that second goal was fantastic. And it put us in the box seat. Now, I know probably some of the Arsenal fans were at the stadium yesterday and some of the Arsenal fans watching at home. 2-0 to the Arsenal is not a safe scoreline. Was I concerned? Yeah, a little bit of me was, because the results don't lie, and Arsenal have gone up 2-0 in certain games, and they've not seen it out. But yeah, massive moment. The Xhaka tackle, block, and then the Martinelli goal with 2-0 up with 20 minutes to go. He makes a key change before we got that goal, though, in terms of bringing off Zinchenko, who was struggling. And I thought that was a very good move by Arteta. I even said some Arsenal fans were saying he should have made the move a lot sooner and bringing on Zinchenko, bringing off Zinchenko and putting on Tierney just to shore us up a little bit better. And he did that, Quintin. I thought he done really, really well when he come on, to be honest with you. I thought defensively, I'll touch on it with Arsenal because someone's dropped it in the chat. Fair play to Gabriel. People were having kittens 2 days before the game, because when we played Chelsea and he went down about 4 times, I thought, why is he still on the pitch? Take him off. Goodness sake, man. And there was a good chance he could miss the game against Newcastle yesterday. So when we saw him on the team, in the team lineup, Arsenal fans, a huge sigh of relief that he was starting the game. That was pivotal, and to give probably Jacob Kivior a lot more insurance, a solid, reliable partner in Gabriel, and possibly, and it's only been a few games, we can display the myth that 2 centre backs that are left-footed can't play together, because Kivior's not had a lot of minutes. I would have liked to have seen him have a lot more minutes than what he's had. Personally speaking, I thought he did well against Chelsea. I thought he was excellent yesterday with Gabriel. And I can't downplay, like I said, going to Newcastle is a tough game. I think only, is it Manchester United and who's the other team, and Liverpool have gone there and won this season. I think we're only the 3rd or 4th team to go there and win. So that just shows how difficult a game is going to be. But yeah, listen, we made some substitutions which were, to me, were much needed to freshen it up. And yeah, you know what? Big up to Ramsdale. Let me give a shout out to Aaron Ramsdale, because that was a massive save from Fabian Schär as well. That was a brilliant save. You can argue that Schär should have scored and stuck it in the far corner, but the reaction to get the palm on it, a strong arm on it, and to get it out of the danger zone was first class. He's had many a game like that, Aaron Ramsdale, where he's pulled some amazing saves out of the bag. And he was brilliant yesterday. He was really, really good. In front of watching Gareth Southgate, but some people might argue maybe he's only gone there to watch Nick Pope. but possibly. But listen, Aaron Ramsdale was brilliant yesterday. Absolutely brilliant. Let me come to the chat quickly. It's amazing how Xhaka has been with us all this time, and a lot of us fans wanting him out. But this season, he's been incredible. He has been incredible. There were times yesterday when a few of the Arsenal players, I could see, was saying to him, just calm it down. If we're going to win this game, we need 11 men, not 10. But I get it. Like, passions were there, man. Saw it when Eddie came on. Fabian Schär tried to push him around. Eddie wasn't having it. Xhaka, couple of off the balls. Jesus got cornered. Jorginho was very clever in some of the fouls he won. That's part of game management. People talk about it went down easily, of course. physical. So yeah, there were some poor challenges, man. Even there was one on Xhaka, which he was not happy about. When Newcastle had a corner, and I think it was Joe Linton committed numerous fouls. Bruno Guimaraes, numerous fouls. He got booked in the end, group Bruno, but he walked a fine line, 100%. And it's quite ironic. Eddie Howe's talking about time wasting. So wow, interesting to say the least. Yeah, I get it. He's frustrated after a result like that, but yeah, to corner Arsenal for time waste, I'm like, are you serious? Guys, let's talk about this guy, man. We can talk about the whole of defense, and they were excellent. Ben White was better yesterday. And also, obviously, Gabriel was immense. And Tierney coming and shored it up. And Ramsdale, brilliant. But let's give a shout out to Jacob Kivior. Now, what I will say, and I'm sure many gooners watching this back and watching this live will have their own opinions, but he came on for his first start away to Sporting Lisbon in Europa League. He didn't have the best game. He wasn't awful, didn't have the best game. Tough game to come into an away European tie in a knockout stage against a decent side in Sporting Lisbon, or not to be to kind of put them aside. He came in, he got, and I saw some of the reaction from some of the Arsenal fans, and I thought to myself, you guys need to give this guy a chance, man. Like it's his first competitive start for Arsenal, and he's getting absolutely ripped to pieces. And I thought, wow, give a guy a chance. And then he's come on, he's had a couple cameo appearances at Anfield, and I think there was another game, I can't remember, it's gone out of my head. He plays the 90 minutes against Chelsea. Very good game. And people say, oh, but he's up against Aubameyang. Doesn't matter. He's coming at a crucial stage of the season where we've needed these guys to come in and do a job. And he did well. And what I like with Kivior and what the clips I saw of him before we signed him, his time at Spezia, and from what I've seen of him, one, he's got a good turn of pace. He's very good on the ball. What you'll see more next season with him is he's got a fantastic passing range. Like I'm telling you, but if you don't believe me, trust me. This guy can play. And positionally, he got himself into some great positions yesterday. I mean, he did the other night against Chelsea, and the other night against Chelsea played well. People were going overboard in that sense, and like he was, Paolo Maldini, Alessandro Costa Curta. Just Arsenal fans, just calm down. Like you can't have it both ways. You can't lambast him and then overly praise him. You can have a happy medium with this guy because he's just come here. Like, you're going to need to see more performances, but very, very encouraged with what I saw yesterday. And he will get better. And I think, and I said this yesterday, I don't know if you guys agree in the chat, is that I think Mikel Arteta will not come out and publicly say, and listen, Rob Holding's a good servant of the club and he's dependable and the rest of it, but there might be a little part of him. Yes, hindsight's a beautiful thing, as people would tell me, but I'm just saying in terms of probably thinking maybe, just maybe, I could have got him in a little bit sooner or give him a little bit more minutes here and there. I get it, you're on a disruptive winning team. Plausible argument. But at the time, Arsenal weren't winning games of football and the performances were a little bit dicey, and maybe he could have got Kivior on a little bit more. Maybe he could have given Jorginho a little bit more minutes. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? But yeah, very, very pleased with Kivior. What I saw yesterday, really, really played well. And actually, I had no complaints about who got man in the match, as you guys might have seen. Trevor, I don't know if you saw it, they gave it to Jorginho. Thought he's outstanding. His ability to pass, to calm things down, the way he was communicating with the back four, it cut to him on numerous occasions, the camera work, and he was brilliant. He worked well in tandem with Martin Odegaard. I think Xhaka played the pass for Saka, but Jorginho played some fantastic. Yeah, won a lot of. He eased the pressure by winning cheap free kicks and that's what you want. He brought the calm and the experience, and I thought he was fantastic. Jack Goodness, Lucy said hi. Yes, Lucy, hi to you. Love you too. Yeah, but Kivior played well. He did play well. He did play well. And yeah, like I said, fantastic result. Didn't see it coming, to be honest. Like I said, I mentioned earlier in the chat, there's different types of pressure, isn't there? There's pressures of leading a league title race, and then there's pressures of chasing, because people expect Man City to run away with it. If they do, they do. So maybe in that sense, the pressure is off Arsenal a little bit. But what you wanted Arsenal to do, particularly after the City defeat, was to, with our remainder of games, is to finish the season well. If we can hit the 90-point mark and not win it, sod's law. We had an opportunity to win the league, but unfortunately we didn't take it with some of the results. We dropped points this season. But to hit 90 points after the season's last 3 seasons is quite a turnaround, to be honest with you. Arsenal fans, listen, we've got Brighton away next Sunday. I will be there for that game. I think that's my last game I've got for the season now, unless I can try and get a final ticket for Wolves, which is going to be very difficult. I'll try and put the word out, but we'll see. But yeah, we've got Forest away, and obviously Wolves at home. So all we can do is apply the pressure and take advantage if Man City slip up. But I did say, I think I do see them dropping points. Whether they'll drop enough points for Arsenal to take advantage is a completely different story. But people, I'm not going to say much more. Man of the match for me, yeah, I agree with that 100%. With Jorginho was given to him yesterday. Could have argued for the 2 centre-backs as well. It was excellent. Ramsdale quietly reassuring again and some great saves. But yeah, we went to a very difficult ground and won 2-0, and we kept a clean sheet. We've kept more clean sheets away from home. not many at home this season, but away from home we've been fantastic. But people, get your virtual waves and goodbyes in the chat. Because Albert JT is going to log off on this Monday morning, bank holiday Monday morning. But yeah, a good weekend for Gooners. Some of you probably enjoyed the coronation. Some of you probably didn't. But yeah, we got a fantastic win yesterday to show Man City and the rest of the league we ain't going away, and we'll take it to the last game of the season, like Casey said. If we can do that, I'll bite your hand off. But big up to people in the chat. Like I said, I will share this on the social media platforms and clip and put it on the audio as well. So all the listeners, you will never be ever be forgotten. But people, if you don't know what to do by now, this is what you should do. And there you have it, people. Subscribe to Albert JTV. All the listeners, that beautiful, serene music was the intro to subscribe to Albert JTV. Yeah, as I said in my title, huge examination, and it was. I have a particular podcast on my channel called Weekly Surgery. Yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand with a huge examination for Arsenal yesterday, and they passed it. We had to ride the storm. We had to ride a bit of luck. We showed some experience. We showed moments of quality, and we got the job done. We got the 3 points, and you can't argue with that. So, people, that is Albert JTV over and out for this match review. Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 2. Say you give your virtual waves and goodbyes in the chat, people. That is Albert JTV over and out for another match review. Up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.